Hello everyone and welcome to another Mia Does Weird Tech video. So this is my brand new Framework 13 laptop that I just received in the mail. I am hiding my address from you curious people because obvious reasons. I bought my own RAM for this. This is my Crucial RAM 16 gig kit of SODIMM DDR5 memory. And my own SSD because the prices were slightly better than what Framework was offering. And today we'll be putting Fedora on this box. This is actually the same USB drive that I used when I installed it on one of my desktops recently. So that is already ready to go. So without further ado, let's dive in. Slightly bit of an unboxing video, but we'll see what this process is like. I've never done this before. This is not at all sponsored. God, I wish. Money is nice, but this is just me ordering tech to replace my old broken tech. All right, so we're in the box. First thing we have here is our bezel. I actually wanted to order the translucent purple bezel, but I settled on doing the black because it's cheaper, and the translucent purple was out of stock at the time I ordered it. And this was a fairly urgent purchase to replace a laptop that had died on me rather aggressively recently. Next thing we have here is the input cover kit. The power adapter, which I didn't have to order from Framework, but I ultimately decided to do so because, yeah, I could order ones off Amazon that would be probably smaller or lighter or whatever, but I was curious to see what they give and the prices were roughly similar, so. Here are my expansion cards. This is my Ethernet one, HDMI, USB-C. Again, I wanted two of these in translucent purple, but they were out of stock. USB-A, because I still have a lot of USB-A accessories and I didn't want to buy a dongle. And SD card, because the camera I'm recording this on is actually SD card based. Old school camcorder. A little spacer here. This is wrapped in some sort of paper. There is the actual laptop itself, the frame, I guess, of the framework, if you will. There's a scan to get started QR code. I assume this is the build guide. I'm gonna probably end up having to bring in some sort of screened device here to proceed with this. Okay, what else do we have here? So we got some cardboard spacing. What are you? Okay, this appears to be a manual. Oh, stickers. That's fun. Stickers that say Framework and you should be able to fix your stuff. Now that is ultimately why I decided to go with this instead of a MacBook Air, because yes, the MacBook Air has better battery life, a smaller form factor, etc. But the computer that I was replacing was a MacBook Pro that had died horrifically on me in a way that I was not able to repair, and that's what infuriated me and ultimately motivated me to go with a Framework because I could fix it. Alright, so what do we have in this box? Ah, just the screwdriver. Okay. And it seems to have some sort of spudger type end on this screwdriver, which is interesting. It's a very small screw head here. I wonder if this is Torx or some other thing. Oh, it comes out. It's magnetic. This is a Phillips head, I believe. And whatever this tiny one is. Okay. Interesting. I think these, based on the artwork on the box here, I think they were intent upon putting the RAM and the SSD and the expansion cards in here, but I ordered apparently more than the 3 expansion cards they expected to put in here, and I ordered my own RAM and SSD, so I'm guessing the RAM would have gone here and the SSD would have been here, but I didn't order any of that, so not from Framework anyway. So that explains that. Oh boy. It's getting cluttered here already. Okay. Well, I'm gonna get my fingerprints all over this sooner or later, so I might as well start now. Okay. I don't know if I'm doing this correctly, but I'm sure doing it. There is a guide. I've just chosen to ignore it. Okay. Okay. We have freed the case from its container. Already I'm hearing things moving around in here, which is curious. Not sure if that's intentional. It's probably like the ribbon cables and such. I can see there's, oh, these screws are out here. That's interesting. Are these, oh, they're all flopping down. So it's these screws here making all the clicky sounds. That makes sense. They're probably not screwed into anything. There's these rubber pads on the bottom here, which are kind of nice because it elevates it up a little bit so that we can actually get some airflow in here. These are the speaker grills, I think. This cover is not covered. I assume that the input cover or the bezel will cover this, and I'm not sure which, but I really hope so because that shouldn't be like that. Oh. There's a piece of plastic here that I can see. I think this is what's substituting in for the input cover while this is in shipping. Makes some sense. You wouldn't want to damage the screen. Okay. The other interesting thing to note with this laptop is that these USB-C plugs internally that connect with your expansion cards are not universal. They are not all the same thing. So there's a very confusing diagram that tells you what these ones can do versus these ones and their different capabilities. At least on the AMD model for the 13-inch. Apparently the Intel one is different. I don't know what the deal is with that. But I checked against that diagram, and I think the way I actually plan to use these expansion ports will be compatible with what ultimately it's capable of doing. So we will dive in. I'm going to go get my iPad so I can follow a guide. Alright, so I've returned and I'm going to open the camera, uncover the, oh, it's not covered, okay. Scan the QR code to get started. Getting started with your Framework Laptop 13. Excellent. Setting up your pre-built, setting up your DIY edition. AMD Ryzen 300 series. I refuse to say AI. I'm not doing it. Alright. I have actually read this guide a little bit, but I haven't actually done it with the stuff in hand, so that is the purpose of this video today. How exciting! You got your hands on a Framework Laptop 13 DIY edition. I mean, I made a purchase. I don't know if I'd call it exciting. Got my hands on it? It was a purchase, dude. Alright, we are not installing Windows. Okay, open the stuff, unpack the components, we're done with that. Remove the protective cover. There we go. So, it looks like it wants me to open this. As soon as I figure out how. There we go. Okay. We are open. Okay, so that is just in there, huh? All the major components are largely installed, so it feels a little less DIY than I was afraid. The screen is in here with no bezel on it, which is very strange if you're not used to seeing laptops this way. Okay, open the laptop. Oh, this is recyclable. Always good to know. It feels like all these materials are super recyclable. It's like paper, cardboard, plastic that's recyclable. All right, insert the RAM. Now this little cover here peels back to reveal where the RAM goes. So, here's our RAM that I purchased elsewhere, which is another advantage of Framework. You can bring your own stuff to the party. They've partnered with a few other third-party people. You can buy off their marketplace. You can buy stuff elsewhere. These are all standard parts. All right, if you're using one stick of RAM, you need to insert them slightly differently. There's one slot that you have to use and not the other. That's pretty standard with the RAM. You normally have a very specific way that you're allowed to use it. Is this upside down? Okay, good to know. I thought I was going crazy, but not today. Okay, that's not clicking in like I hoped. It's fine, Mia. You're not on camera or anything. No one's gonna judge. Crap. Alright, let's use our spudger and get this out of here because it's not seated properly. And it's not coming out. That's not... There we go. The challenge with tech, as always, is not breaking it. There we go. That's clicked in. That's better. Okay. 2 RAM modules installed. Okay. There's a bunch of QR codes here that you can look up, like how do I do this, how do I do that, which is nice. RAM modules are installed. Gently press down, blah, 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 blah. Okay, install the SSD. Now my question is, yes, here we go. There is a screw pre-installed because the SSD that I purchased did not come with a screw. That is a big win. Let's get this SSD out of here. Using a Crucial P310 2TB drive. It was a good price, good capacity. I'm happy. So let's see what we got here. I should probably take the screw out first. Now this is not a Phillips head screw. This is the other screw that this thing, the other bit that this screwdriver came with. Let's see if it comes up. Oh, we love magnetic screwdrivers. We love it. Okay, let's get the SSD installed. There we go. It's a little firmer than I'm used to sticking in NVMe drives, but not a bad feel. Doesn't feel like anything's going to break. The RAM module felt a little more that way, if I'm honest. Install the new input cover. Gently place the input cover keyboard side down on the bottom cover as indicated. I see. Okay, there's pictures here. The cover should be about 1.5 inches away from the bottom of the main board so you can comfortably install the touchpad cable. Oh, interesting. Okay. Note the orientation of the input cover matters. Study the first image in this step to ensure you are properly attaching the cover. Locate the loop on the end of the touchpad cable and insert your finger into it. What does that mean? Oh, they literally show you holding the ribbon cable in your finger. That's interesting. Alright, input cover kit. We gotta open you up. So the point of this laptop is that if anything breaks in here, if I get water on it or something, or my nephew starts messing with it, if the fan gets a bunch of gunk in there and I need to replace it, I'll be able to repair it myself. And that is a huge advantage to someone like me who works with tech. This is not the easy way to open this box. Here it is. It's bright orange. I don't know how I missed that. That's on me. Okay, more paper and cardboard. Love to see it. Here we go. Okay. This just seems to pop right out. Okay, cardboard, paper. Love it. Okay, a bit of a leaning tower over there. That's fine. So, I ordered the English keyboard, and I was curious because it's not super evident in all the pictures whether or not this will have a Copilot key, which I do not want because I will not be using Windows ever again unless I have to. Okay. So this is what they mean, and they want you to stick your finger through here for some reason. I'm guessing that's so you can just press it down into this connector here. Install the new input cover. Okay. Step 7, connect the touchpad cable. Using slight force, connect the touchpad cable by aligning it into the socket on the main board. You should hear it click into place when it's properly connected. And they've got a couple of close-up photos. Okay. Oh boy. So they do show it slightly over here. We're going to have to move it a bit. That's okay. Let's get this down in here. This, I'm guessing, is the connector for both the keyboard itself and the touchpad. That was not a very satisfying click. Okay, let's try it again, just to make sure. There we go. That sounded like a healthier click. Does it show which direction they ultimately want it after it releases from your finger? No. Okay. Make sure the touchpad side of the touchpad cable is fully inserted. That is here. Looks good to me. Before closing the laptop, make sure that the touchpad end of the touchpad cable is fully seated into the receptacle. Should be inserted enough that the white line almost touches the receptacle. White line? I don't see a white line. I'm guessing they're referring to this line here on the cable. That makes the ribbon cable, so that makes sense. If it's not inserted far enough, you'll need to flip up the back latch on the back side, on the other side of the connector, slide the cable in further, then close the back latch again. So these are the standard ribbon cable style things where they've got a little flip thing that you flip up and you shove the ribbon cable in. Anyone who's disassembled anything since the 90s knows what that is. Okay, flip the input cover into place. Blah, blah, blah. Once it's secured to the main board, flip the input cover on the bottom. Tip: the covers are magnetic and should fit into each other easily. If you feel any resistance, simply lift the cover up and try again. Okay, magnetic, huh? We'll see about that. Oh yeah. Okay. That, yeah. Okay. Okay. Remove the adhesive from the bezel. Oh boy. What's concerning to me is that I don't see anything that's going to cover this here where this cable is that connects to the monitor. That worries me. Well, let's move on. Bezel time. Okay. This appears to be upside down. It's fine. The leaning tower grows every second. Okay. That seems like a whole lot of... here's the cover that will go there. Interesting. Okay. If installing a new bezel, remove the liner pieces from the bottom of the bezel to expose the adhesive if present. Yes, this is adhesive. Okay, so there's 4 little chunks of adhesive here. Okay, so where will those connect up? Those will go here and here. These appear to be magnets. Interesting. How many are there? Okay. Doesn't say. Sure, there have been a few revisions on this so far. But there seems to be 4 pieces of adhesive. Now, I plan to swap this bezel once the translucent purple comes back into stock. I'm kind of curious if this adhesive is strong enough that it's going to be an actual problem for me. Open the Framework laptop 180 degrees. So they want me to open it all the way up. There's already dust on this screen. Okay. Starting from with the bottom of the bezel, which covers the hinges and cables. Okay, so let's get those into the place we want them to be. This is always the worst part of fixing a laptop screen. Line the corners of the bezel to the display and place it down. The bezel is attached by magnets and should easily click into place. We recommend feeling along the edge of the bezel to make sure it is seated correctly before proceeding. If it doesn't seem to be sitting flush, lift it back up and try lowering it in place again. Do not try to install the bezel without first opening the laptop fully. Doing so could damage the bezel and potentially the display because of the cable in the middle. If the bottom of the bezel doesn't seem to fit, lift it back off and check the cables are seated correctly on both sides. If the bezel doesn't seem to fit at all, please contact support and do not force it into place. Interesting. Okay. Oh well, the magnets clicked right in. This, there we go. Okay. Okay. Looks good here. Okay. I can't quite tell if that's right. That did not click into place down here. So let's take it off again. Let's take it off again. Let's take it off again. Oh boy. I don't like that. There we go. Magnet's stronger than the thing. Okay. What is this? Am I supposed to peel this? It doesn't say anything about that. I don't know that this cable is where it's meant to be, but there's nowhere else for it to go. Like this one goes over the top of the hinge and this one goes over the side of the hinge. And I don't know how deep this channel is over here for it. Okay, let's try that again. Okay. Magnets are magneting. Come on. Okay. Okay. And it kind of clicks in places, so that's good. There's like little bits that hold on to things. This does not feel very sturdy. Screw the fasteners back into place, close the framework laptop, and place it upside down to reveal the fasteners on the bottom cover using the T5 bit, so it was a Torx bit. In the framework screwdriver, screw all 5 fasteners back into the bottom cover. Okay, what I'm concerned with is that these bottom corners on this green bezel thing are not clicked into anything. And I can't tell if that's right or not. Maybe it will just tighten up when I close it. Oh. Okay. Okay, well there was clicking action there. I can't tell if that's a good thing. I think the screws here are sticking down into the frame and I think it's messing up the alignment. They're captive screws, so you won't lose them, which is nice. Clickety-clackety things happening here. Alright. There's 5 screws here, so let's get started. That's 1. This whole thing feels a little flimsier than what I'm used to, but not worse than other laptops I've owned where they're just all plastic and everything feels like you're going to destroy it when you take it apart. The MacBook Pro I just recently took apart has a lot more aluminum in it, and this is an aluminum frame, but the internals are about on par with that quality, I would say. Alright, that feels better. Okay, get ready to turn on your framework laptop. Install the expansion cards of your choice. Must be facing down. Plug your power cable in. Open the lid and press the power button. Now I saw when I was looking at the instructions for installing Linux that there can be a problem where your battery is 100% and it doesn't register that it has a battery, which is kind of strange. Install the operating system, blah, 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 blah. Okay. After installing the operating system framework bundle, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So, let's decide what we're putting in first. I need a USB-C cable plugged in to charge the thing. Oh, there you go. I'd opted for the silver one so it would match all the other ones. I'm a little curious on the eject mechanism here. I think you have to push this button and then pull it out. That's... Jeez. Well, they're not going to fall out of there. Ow, I just broke a nail. It's definitely not going to fall out on their own, so that's good to know. What happens if you do it without the button? Okay, so the button is essential to removing them. Okay. Ow. I usually put my Ethernet cable over on the left side. If I'm going to use one. Oh, the Ethernet one is clear. That was not clear to me at the time. That's fine. What I'm curious about with the Ethernet one... Oh, this faces this? Oh, it sticks out. That was not clear to me, ironically, given that this thing is clear. Okay, so it clips in like that. It sticks out. That is not pleasant. I do not like that. I'm also just realizing that this is the right side and not the left side, so I get to eject these, break another nail, and try again, because I'm a failure. I do tech for a living, everyone. Fortunately, I do the software side, not the hardware side. Okay, let's not use the Ethernet adapter today. I will put the USB port. Now, they list in that diagram the HDMI, the display port spec for the expansion ports. They do not list the HDMI ones, and I don't know how to translate between the two of them. So that's an interesting choice on their documentation side. All right. Let's get a little more organized. This is the HDMI, so I'll put that one here just because. And the SD card I'll put on the left today, why not? I figured SD card would also fit a micro SD, which I sometimes end up using, with an adapter that I already have, so I didn't want to buy a second expansion thing. Okay. Let's open the power adapter. This thing is heavier than I expect. I wonder if this is gallium nitride or if this is one of the old school ones. 60 watts. This is definitely gallium nitride. There's no way this is this small without that. I was curious what their adapter looked like. I wanted to see how long of a cable they give you and go from there. Start with something that I knew would work with it, and ooh, okay. Velcro cable that you can replace and wrap up and everything. That's nice. We'd love to see it. Okay. Now, since I'm in my dining room, my power setup is going to be a little weird here. Oh, right angle connector. That is nice to have, for sure. Let's put this in here. And we'll put the not right angle one into the actual power brick. And then this is a standard Mickey Mouse style plug. Also has a captive Velcro strap built in. Okay, so the USB cable is longer than the power cable. That's an interesting choice. Okay. All right, we have a charging indicator light. Oh, that bezel did not stick. Uh-oh. Okay. Oh, okay. Hey, I think I got it now. There we go. We just had to turn it around a bunch. There you go. Okay. 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 So that says charging. Interesting. Okay. My USB-A port will be necessary for the OS install. It does not say what button I need to press in order to install an OS, so let's just turn it on and see what happens. It says that it takes a few minutes because it has to memory train with the RAM, and we'll see what happens. The light is on, so it's doing something. We'll see what we get. This is an interesting aspect ratio. I'm used to more 16:9 stuff. They also don't tell you to take these stickers off the webcam. Aha. Boot option restoration to stop system reset. Okay, I'm not pressing any button then. Interesting. I think that might be two... Is that a webcam and an IR sensor? I can't tell. Framework, always a good sign. Test this media and start Fedora Desktop Live. Now, I did not opt for the higher refresh rate, higher resolution screen. I just don't want it. I just don't need it. This is a machine that I basically use for paying my taxes and watching YouTube videos. Okay, checking the installation media. Looks good so far. I'm installing Fedora 42 on here, despite the email from them saying to use Fedora 41. Not sure why they did that, but here we are. This is not one of the fastest USB drives that I have, but it is the one that I do have. Yeah, this bezel, ugh, it just feels flimsy, you know? But it's replaceable, and that's the point. So if it is not great, it'll be fine. Okay, we've got a Fedora logo, that's good. And bada bing, we are in the Fedora installer. From here out, I think it's going to be fairly straightforward. I'm going to connect to my Wi-Fi, see if that works. Hey, it's got networks detected, which is amazing. Does this keyboard not have a backlight? That's going to be disappointing. Maybe if I FN... Aha! There's the backlight. FN space, there's a backlight indicator on the space key, so that did the job. Okay. It's got a print screen button, which is weird. I'm guessing this is settings. There's function lock on... So if I hit FN escape, it'll lock into function mode, which is interesting. I like that it's not a Windows logo, it's a framework logo. That makes me happy. Let's type it. Oh. Okay. The KDE wallet system. Created a new wallet called KDE Wallet. Oh boy. That's not the Wi-Fi network that I said to connect to. Connect to this one. Okay. Seems that your system has no keys suitable for encryption. Okay. This might get fixed when I actually install the OS. Okay, so we're on Wi-Fi. The point is I can install updates now, which is important. So, we'll have access to the latest info. The battery is currently 62% charged, and it tells me how long until it's done. Okay. Screen brightness at 39%. What does full look like? Oh, that's much brighter than I thought. That's good. That might actually be usable in, like, sunlight. Nice. Keyboard brightness reports 0%. That's not correct. I wonder if... I don't think I can control the keyboard backlight. I think it's just on or off. Interesting. Keyboard backlight has a scroll bar. Let's see if that... Oh yeah, that totally works. Awesome. Okay. Good. Okay, I like the feel of the keyboard, I will say, as I was typing in my Wi-Fi password, which was cut from the video, you sneaky people. Yeah, interesting. Okay, let's install. This video is taking way longer than I thought. English United States. Installation destination. It sees my NVMe drive. I want to see... That's weird. I clicked on it and it wouldn't take the clicker. Root account is disabled. User creation. I never know what I want to put as my full name. I usually just put... Oh. Alright. I'm going to cut away while I type a password. Okay, so we got the user creation, root account is disabled, blah blah blah. Time and date, America's New York time zone, correct. Begin installation. Okay, BTRFS, that's interesting. Why not XT4? You can see the light from the screen glowing up. Interesting. Okay. I'm hoping that wallet thing will get resolved when I actually install it. That's common on the live CD for me. So I'm looking over this keyboard more. The lack of a numpad is disappointing to me, but it's a 13-inch laptop. My last 13-inch laptop that this is replacing, my MacBook Pro from 2015. that I was running Arch on, by the way. Did not have a number pad. I could get one that is external for it. Especially when I'm doing my taxes on here, that is really nice to have. I don't know. I'm torn on it. I wanted a cheaper 13-inch. I wanted super portable. I wanted, that. So I didn't opt for the 16. But, seeing how nice this went so far, including the weird wonkiness with the bezel, I gotta say I'm approving so far. What I want to see is the system monitor while this is installing. System monitor. No, I said monitor. Nope, not in the quick settings. Ugh. I swear I'm a Linux user. I've done this before. I want to see if all my RAM is registering at the correct speed. 16, okay, so 14.9 gigabytes, which is correct. Yeah, okay. Okay. Awesome, good. This is a very boring video at this point because it's just me installing Fedora behind the screen. Installing bootloader, which is, I believe, the final step. We're just about done here. Not bad speed. I forgot to check the RAM speed, speaking of speed. I don't think the system monitor will tell you that. No. I could create a custom view in here to see that. I might create one for the temperatures as well. I could look in Firefox. It's the live CD. It's got Firefox, which is my standard browser these days. Switched from Chrome after various decisions by Google. I hear the fans ramping up. It's good to see. It's nice and quiet, no rattling noises or anything. Your computer clock is wrong. Warning from Firefox. Thinks it's January 1, 2025. That's interesting. I'm sure that'll be corrected on the actual boot. Might have to set up NTP. What was I checking? I know my computer clock is wrong. I don't need you to connect secure. Oh my gosh. Okay. We'll check this on a boot. Finish installation. So let's go ahead and shut down. Yes, I'm sure I would like to do that. Okay. Unplug our installation media. We are now done with it. And power up. I want to test the webcam, I want to test the microphone, I gotta set up the fingerprint reader, there's extra steps here. But ultimately I think this is going to be a win. It's nice and light and portable, which is all I really wanted. So, that old 2015 MacBook Pro of mine had some serious problems, the most significant of which was the battery. The battery would only last for a few seconds. That was weird, it just flashed the installer. Okay, welcome to Fedora. Oh boy, it's gonna take me through a tutorial. I've been running Fedora for a while now. Yeah, great, thanks. You can go now, welcome center. Okay, let's install some updates. Updates fetching. Stop trying to make fetch happen. Yeah, so this is not a braided USB cable. I will very likely replace this at some point. System upgrade 5.2 gigabytes. Update all. I love Linux. This is so much less painful than Windows. Oh, okay. So interestingly, I don't see a way to control the backlight on the keyboard, the level of the backlight with a keyboard shortcut. Unless I'm missing something. There might be like FN Alt or something on the backlight buttons for the screen or something. Maybe you just hold it down. Ah, yeah, okay, that's it. So FN keyboard, FN space, and cycle through the various levels of keyboard brightness. At least I get a software control for that. It always bothers me that the default desktop background for Fedora has 6 times 9 equals 42. It does not. Bothers me so much. I might install Steam Link on here with, what's the word I'm looking for? Flatpak, because then I could play games from my gaming computer on this laptop on the couch, which would be nice. I also have a fiber optic cable running to the TV from the room that I have the gaming PC in, and I have Bluetooth, so like if I was willing to deal with the lag and input latency, you know, some casual game or something I could totally play on the couch. Couch gaming is a whole different problem, especially when you have a 4K TV. Anyway, the USB-C cable I will almost certainly replace with a braided cable. I just find that those are far more durable. This is a nice thick cable though. There's nothing wrong with it. It would be nice to have this set up, and maybe I'll use the braided one for travel when I take this thing with me. Anyway, the MacBook Pro battery was really bad. It would last only a few seconds off the wall. And then, okay, restart to install updates. Yep. And the battery was ultimately a problem when I had Arch installed on it, because the MacBook Pro from 2015, it turns out, will not start without a certain amount of power in the battery, and the battery is on the threshold for how much capacity it has left, so that sometimes, even when it's plugged into the wall and has been plugged into the wall for days, it will not let you actually power on the device, which is a problem. So my solution was, okay, well, I'll just disconnect the battery because I know there's a procedure to start up a MacBook Pro without a battery. And that does work. The problem is that you get no backlight control on the keyboard, which I could live without, and the fans go 100% the entire time the laptop's on. And that I could not live with. That was the end for me. Why Apple, in their infinite wisdom, ever decided to tie the fan controller and the keyboard backlight controller into the battery board makes no sense to me. Unplugging the battery takes like 3 steps and 1 tool. Replacing that battery in that laptop takes like 20 steps and tools I don't own, that I don't want to own to fix a 10-year-old laptop. It was time for a new laptop, and I wasn't about to get deeper into Apple's ecosystem where I couldn't repair the thing myself, and every time I tried to run an operating system of my choosing on there, namely Linux, it was going to be a problem. I had to make like kernel parameter modifications to that OS in order to get everything working consistently. And then there's this, which just works out of the box because Fedora is open source and works with Framework. This is an officially supported operating system on this machine, so they provide driver info and everything just works. Amazing. And, you know, I'm old school Linux kid. I remember when the only option you had was System 76 and you were paying a premium for the freedom to use Linux, and this is just amazing. I can customize this thing to some degree. I can replace parts that I don't want anymore or that get damaged. I can change out the keyboard. I can change the screen. I can upgrade the screen. I can change the bezel color. It works, and that is so exciting to me. I gotta get this thing synced up with my Firefox account and everything, get some other software installed on here, put it through its paces, see what this thing can do. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to end this video once I get back into the operating system after installing updates, because I want to confirm that the date and time set themselves correctly, and that will be the end of the video. We are now 82% complete on the updates installing. I love how updates work in Linux so much more than I love how they work in Windows, because, yeah, Windows updates, not a fun time. I understand why this Ethernet expansion card is the way that it is, because the Ethernet plug, the RJ45 connector, is taller than what will fit in the laptop. And what a lot of laptop manufacturers do is they have like a sort of like a hinge on the actual RJ45. It's not a great solution, but this being that it sticks out from the laptop and makes it taller, and it's the only clear module that came with it, I don't love that. It doesn't match the aesthetic of everything else. It doesn't, it doesn't lift it up off the table, I don't think, but it is fairly significant. I don't love it. And I don't know what the link speed of this is. I think it's gigabit, but if I was running 2.5 gigabit on this, I would be very disappointed. And like, I could achieve that with any USB 4 connector that I would plug into a USB-C port on here just fine. That's not really the point, though. Oh, my screen brightness is set low and I cannot change it. That's interesting. Wonder if when I actually get in here, it'll let me do that. There we go. Yep, all set here. That's better. Brightness controls for the keyboard backlight, 100%. There we go. Plasma has been updated. I don't want a preview. Okay. Alright, so I've got to do some customization in here, but let's see that the clock is correct now. And we're good to go. So, thank you for joining me on this unboxing / setup journey, and hope you all have a lovely day. Bye now.